Hey guys, it's Maymay, and it's time for our scripture art journaling of the week. And this week's scripture comes from Colossians, and it's verse 3:16. And I actually have it on my phone, so I'm going to open it and read it here. It says, "Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord." Now, when I posted that on our Hide His Word in My Heart page, I posted a portion of the verse because that's what was on our list for this week. So when I went into the scripture and started to read, and I realized that the scripture is so much more than just that portion that I posted, I was like, no, we got to use all of this verse because it needs to be read. It needs to be learned. This is what we need to know. So I have here a piece of black paper, and as you know, I typically do my scripture art journal on paper and then glue it into my book. So this page has been cut down to fit inside my book. Now, I'm going to go back to my hymnal, my Baptist hymnal. I used this week on a project, and because the scripture talks about spiritual songs and hymns and all that, I'm going to use some of these on this page. I'm going to tear some out, and I'll show you how we're going to use those. I think 2 will probably be enough. And then this book, it's a book I picked up at the thrift store. It's the New Testament in modern English. So, as modern as this book was at the time, I assume. But what's cool is, it is the story. It's more of a novel of the scripture. So it's the word. And I don't mind tearing this one up, but I don't want to tear up a Bible. But I love the colors of the page. So I'm going to go in here. This is from the Gospel of Matthew. So I'm going to take some of these pages out so I can use them as well. Probably 4 of these. 2 to 1, how about that? So see, I don't mind tearing this book up. Like I said, this is not the actual Bible. This is a translation of sorts. But for me, I know this is from Scripture, and that's how I'm going to use it. Now, I'm going to take these, and I'm going to tear them. And I don't really care if they're perfect, but this is a good way. If you want to keep kind of a straight line, you can put your ruler down and just kind of tear at them. I'm just going to make strips out of them. Not really worried about where the tear ends or anything like that. Just making some strips. This paper tears easy because it's old. So that's cool. Alright, so there's a pile of those. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my song pages. I think I'll tear them between the measures. Like so. Basically, I'm going to create some background paper with this. Kind of like I did a while back where I did a mosaic. But today I'm going to do more of a collage than a mosaic. Alright, so I've got all of those pages torn. And now I'm not going to be concerned about the size of my page at this point. I know it's right for my book how it is, but I'm going to lay these pages off and on and just kind of get them intermingled on the page. And then when I'm done, I'll come back and cut them out. So I'm just going to take some glue and put it onto my paper. I probably should have put the glue. I think I will do that. I'm going to use this piece at the bottom. I'll show you what I should have done because I kind of went crazy with that glue. So I'm just going to put that piece there since I have glue on the back. But I probably should put glue to the background page so that when my papers hang off the edge, it won't be an issue. So I'm going to do it like that and then just kind of hang that off the edge like so. Then I'm going to come over here and do it again. And this time I'm going to put some of the scripture pages in because I want them to intermingle so that we know that it's psalms and songs and words all mixed together. It's how we should meditate His Word, the spiritual songs, all of it at the same time. Come over here and put some scripture down. It's not, I know it's loosely scripture, but I do know what I'm getting at, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense to you guys what I'm trying to accomplish here. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to intermingle them because that's kind of how I see the scripture, like that these things should be intermingled or intertwined in our life. You know, the scriptures and the songs and the psalms and just lifting each other up, admonishing each other, teaching each other. And it just kind of reminds me of that, how it's all mixed together. We've been in revival this week. Vince is doing a revival in a town about 20 minutes from where we live. It's not terrible, not too far to drive. It's actually a beautiful drive down there. And he's been doing revival this week, and it's been so nice. We've been enjoying some beautiful speaking from Dr. Joe McKeever, and he has been really cool. He draws people. It is so neat. When you walked in the church, the first time he walked in the church, he was drawing. People were sitting in front of him, and he was just drawing their faces. And I was really, really, enthralled by this because it was art and it kind of got to me, it grabbed my attention. All right, I'm out of music, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to put another sheet of scripture right there. So you sit down in front of him and he draws you. And he said he started doing this when he was a very small child. I think he said like 5 or 6 he started drawing. And it's been very, very interesting to watch him do that with all of he's drawn everybody that's been there. It's really been neat. All right, my glue is kind of seeping through the pages, and that's normal because this is wet old pages, so you can kind of see it. And I'm okay with that because I want it to wrinkle a bit. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to trim away these edges. Remember how I told you I wasn't really concerned about those? Because I'm going to cut them away anyway. So grab some scissors and trim that off. So you can look him up. Like I said, his name is Dr. Joe McKeever, and he has a blog. I don't have the address yet. I'll try to find his address and come back and link it in the video later. But it's really neat, and he has a book about his, I think it's of his drawings from what I understand. But he has been really nice to listen to. I'm going to go back now, and to these pieces that are really loose, I'll put a little glue underneath them just to kind of tack them down a bit, so that they're not just flying off the page. Just like this. Just a little bit here and there. Okay. I think that looks cool. I love the way it's kind of braided. All right, now we're going to take some distress ink and a distress tool. And I'm going to use, I don't want to use Vintage Photo this time. I reached for it, but I think I want to use my lighter color. I want to use Antique Linen this time because it's a little bit lighter. And this pad's a little dark, but we're going to go with it. I think it'll be okay. I'm going to go through here and just kind of touch the edges of whatever is poking up. You know I like to do the distressing, especially on the wrinkly paper. I think it looks really neat. So just going to go and grab the lifted edges. And if it's not lifted, I'm not worried about it. I don't mind having the wrinkles in the middle too. Any of you feeling distressed lately? My time has been so short. I feel like I run out of time in the day, and so sometimes I get so stressed, and then I think, you know what? You can only do what you can do. If you can't get it all done, you just can't. And it's better to spend time thinking on these things, thinking on Scripture, singing songs. It's better to spend time thinking on God than all the things you can accomplish. And you know what? You will accomplish them. I don't know who needed to hear that today. Maybe it was just me. Okay, now I want to put my Scripture in, and I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. I sort of wanted it like a plaque. Like I've done this before where I want this to really be the focal point. So let me see how I want to do that. So what I'm going to do is use this butterfly flourish of sequins because I think it's beautiful. And this heart frame. Now it's not terribly thick. It's going to add some dimension to my page, but not too bad. And I want to put the Scripture inside here. But because it's so small, I'm not going to write the whole Scripture. I'm going to put inside here the reference of the verse. And so let me get some cream colored paper for that. So what I'm going to do is pick out my paper color and put this down, and I'm going to trace this heart on the inside so I'll know where to write the Scripture reference. There we go. Now I'm just going to take a marker. This is a black one. So it's COLOSSIANS 3. Is it 16? You know I double check. Yep, 16. Never want to make a mistake on that. Okay. So there's that. And then I'm going to glue this heart on top of it and then cut it out. Cut out around it. That way I know I get it over where I need it to be. And I have enough paper in there. I can move it over some. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for just a second and cut that out. So I got my little heart cut out. I think that's really cool. I love it. The gold heart. And now let's add our butterfly to the page. This is going to be so pretty. I think I'm going to do it like this across the page and then put this heart in this area. That's really cool. I like that. Okay. These things I always take a chance of messing up because I'm like a bull in a china shop. I'm not very gentle. See how I'm already being so rough with it? Alright, it's holding up good. We're in good shape. Okay. So let's put this guy down in this area. I just like the way a butterfly kind of symbolizes flying or movement, or it reminds me of the intertwining of the Scripture. That's cool. I love it. Alright, and then this guy. Place it in the area where like that butterfly was kind of sitting on it. I'm going to let that dry for a second. It's time to place it in our book. So here we go. It's going to go right in this area. And I'm going to go ahead and glue it down while this page is still pretty wet, because I'm afraid once it gets dry, it's going to stiffen up. But this page, I used a lot of glue, so it's really wet. And I'm just going to put it into the book and shut it, and that way it'll be nice and dried in place. Something like that. Oh, I like that. And you don't always have to write the entire verse. You know, you need to memorize the verse, but you can just use your reference, and once you've memorized it, you'll know exactly which scripture that is. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I love to do these vintage kind of Bible-inspired, song-inspired pages. So there you go, guys. I can't wait to see what you guys create. If this is your first time seeing one of my scripture art journaling pages, head over to our Facebook group called Hide His Word in My Heart, and you can see all of our other pages that people are doing, and you can get involved. And we're well into getting close to the end of the year, but hey, you can always start and catch up with us. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.